Imagine, if you will, that your desire has already been fulfilled. Feel the joy, the relief, the overwhelming sense of gratitude that accompanies the realization of your deepest wishes. This feeling, this state of being, is the key to unlocking the infinite potential that lies dormant within you. You see, the world around us is nothing more than a reflection of our inner state. What we perceive as reality is merely a shadow cast by the light of our consciousness. And just as a shadow cannot exist without light, our external experiences cannot manifest without the power of our imagination. Consider for a moment the nature of prayer. Many of us have been taught to beseech an external deity, to plead for favors from a being separate from ourselves. But I tell you now, true prayer is not a petition to an outside force. It is a recognition of the divine power that resides within each one of us. When you pray, you are not reaching out to a distant God. You are, in fact, awakening to the God within you. This God, this infinite creative force, is not separate from you. It is you in your truest, most essential form. And it is through this understanding that your prayers find their answer. The Bible tells us, before they call, I will answer. While they are yet speaking, I will hear. This is not a promise of some future event, but a statement of an eternal truth. The answer to your prayer exists now, in this very moment. It is not something to be created, but something to be realized. Your task then is not to make your desire come true, but to align yourself with the reality in which it is already true. This is the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you can live from the end, when you can experience the joy and gratitude of your desire, as if it were already accomplished, you set in motion the forces that will bring it into your physical experience. Many of you may be thinking, but how can I feel something that hasn't happened yet? To this I say, your imagination is more real than the world you see around you. The physical world is malleable, constantly changing and reshaping itself in response to the images we hold in our minds. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed in the ground, do you dig it up every day to see if it has sprouted? Of course not. You trust in the unseen processes of nature, knowing that in due time the seed will grow into a mighty tree. Your desires are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Once planted, they need only your faith and your unwavering assumption of their fulfillment to grow into reality. This is the true meaning of faith. It is not blind belief in something unseen. It is the evidence of things not seen. When you can feel the reality of your desire so vividly that it becomes more real to you than the physical world around you, that is faith. And it is this faith that moves mountains. Now, some of you may be wondering about the role of action in this process. Should you simply sit back and wait for your desires to manifest? Not at all. Action is indeed necessary, but it is inspired action. When you live in the end, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally guided to take the steps that lead to manifestation. These actions will not feel like struggle or strain. They will feel natural, effortless, as if you are being carried along by an invisible current. This is because you are no longer trying to make something happen. You are simply allowing what is already true in your imagination to express itself in your physical reality. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. Every person, every circumstance you encounter is a reflection of your own consciousness. When you change your inner state, the world around you must change to reflect this new reality. This is not magic or wishful thinking. It is the operation of universal law. Let me share with you a powerful technique to help you maintain this state of living in the end. Before you go to sleep each night, replay in your mind a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Make it as vivid and as real as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the emotions you would feel if your desire were already realized. As you drift off to sleep in this state, you are impressing this reality upon your subconscious mind. And it is your subconscious mind that shapes your world. By doing this night after night, you are reprogramming your subconscious to accept this new reality as truth. During your waking hours, whenever doubts or fears arise, and they will, for that is the nature of the human mind, gently return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Do not fight against your negative thoughts. Simply replace them with the feeling of your desire accomplished. This practice requires persistence and patience. You are overcoming a lifetime of habit of seeing yourself as separate from your desires. But I promise you, with consistent application, you will begin to see changes in your world. At first, they may be small synchronicity here, a fortunate coincidence there. But as you persist, these changes will grow larger and more frequent until your entire world has reshaped itself to match your inner vision. Now let us address a common concern. Many of you may be thinking, but what if my desire doesn't manifest immediately? What if weeks or months pass and I see no change? To this I say, time is an illusion of the physical world. In the realm of imagination, where all things are possible, time does not exist. Your desire is fulfilled now, in the eternal present moment. The time it takes to appear in your physical reality is determined by your ability to maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The more consistently you can live in the end, the more quickly you will see results in your outer world. But do not make the mistake of looking for signs or trying to figure out how your desire will manifest. This is a form of doubt, a denial of the reality of your imaginal act. Your only task is to persist in the assumption that what you desire is already yours. The how and when are not your concern. Trust in the wisdom of your subconscious mind to bring about the fulfillment of your desire in ways that you cannot even imagine. Remember, the outer world is a delayed reflection of your inner state. Just as it takes time for light from distant stars to reach the earth, it may take time for the changes in your consciousness to fully manifest in your physical reality. But make no mistake, the change has already occurred the moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is why I say to you now, your prayer is about to be answered. In the realm of imagination, where all creation takes place, it is already answered. Your task now is to align yourself with this truth, to live and move, and have your being in the consciousness of your wish fulfilled. Let us consider for a moment the nature of consciousness. Most of us go through life believing that we are our bodies, our thoughts, our emotions. But I tell you now, you are none of these things. You are pure awareness, the observer of all these phenomena. Your true self is not affected by the circumstances of your life. It is not limited by your past experiences or your current situation. It is infinite, eternal, and all-powerful. When you identify with this true self, you tap into a wellspring of creative power that knows no bounds. This is the meaning behind the biblical statement, I and my Father are one. Your human personality, with all its limitations and fears, is not separate from the infinite creative power of the universe. They are one and the same. When you truly understand and internalize this truth, you will see that there is nothing you cannot be, do, or have. Now, some of you may be thinking, but what about other people? Don't they have their own free will? How can I manifest a specific person or situation that involves others? To this I say there are no others. There is only one consciousness, individualized in billions of forms, but ultimately one. The people in your life are playing the roles that you have assigned to them through your beliefs and assumptions. When you change your conception of yourself and others, they must change to reflect your new awareness. This is not about controlling others, but about realizing that the entire world is yourself pushed out. This understanding brings with it a great responsibility. If you are the operating power in your world, If your consciousness is creating your reality, then you must be vouching about what you accept as true. Every thought, every assumption, every belief is a seed that will grow into experience. This is why it is so crucial to guard the door of your mind. Be selective about what you allow to take root in your consciousness. Choose thoughts and assumptions that align with your desires, that reflect the reality you wish to experience. And when you find yourself faced with undesirable circumstances, remember these are not obstacles to be overcome. They are opportunities to practice your power of revision. You can literally revise any event in your imagination. And if you do so with conviction and persistence, you will see your revised version replace the original in your physical experience. This power of revision is not limited to current or future events. You can even revise your past. If there are memories that pain you, experiences that you feel have limited you in some way, you can go back in your imagination and rewrite those scenes. As you do this, you will find that your present circumstances begin to change, aligning themselves with your new, revised past. Now, I want to address a question that may be arising in some of your minds. If I have this power to create my reality, why have I experienced hardship and suffering in my life? This is a profound question, and the answer lies in understanding the nature of consciousness and its evolution. You see, your life experiences, both positive and negative, are not punishments or rewards from an external source. They are the natural outpicturing of your state of consciousness. Often we are not aware of our deepest beliefs and assumptions. These subconscious patterns shape our reality without our conscious awareness. The challenges and difficulties you have faced in your life have served a purpose. They have brought you to this moment, to this understanding of your true power. Without them, you might never have sought a deeper truth, never have awakened to your divine nature. Moreover, what we perceive as hardship or suffering is often the breaking down of old patterns to make way for new growth. Just as a caterpillar must struggle to break free from its cocoon, strengthening its wings in the process, so too do our struggles strengthen us and prepare us for higher states of consciousness. But now that you are aware of your power, now that you understand the law of assumption, you no longer need to learn through suffering. You can consciously choose your state of being, and in doing so, choose your experiences. This is the meaning of the biblical injunction to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. As you change your habitual thought patterns, as you cultivate new assumptions about yourself and the world, you literally transform your entire experience of reality. Remember, consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, you become. This is why it is so important to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to live from the end. By doing so, you are choosing to be conscious of your desire as an accomplished fact. As you go through your day, continually remind yourself of this truth. Whatever situation you find yourself in, whatever circumstances you encounter, ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire were already fulfilled? Then assume that feeling. Let it permeate your entire being. This practice may feel strange or unnatural at first. Your senses, conditioned by a lifetime of external focus, may rebel against this new way of being, but persist. Remember, your senses show you the world as it was, not as it is. They reflect the beliefs and assumptions you held in the past. As you maintain your new assumption, your senses will gradually align with your new reality. Now, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of manifestation. Many of you may be wondering about the role of detachment in this process. Should you be constantly focused on your desire, or should you let go and let God? The truth is, both attachment and detachment play a role in the manifestation process. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you live from the end, you are attaching yourself to the reality of your desire. You are claiming it as your own here and now. But at the same time, you must detach from the need for your desire to manifest in a particular way or within a specific time frame. This detachment comes naturally when you truly believe in the reality of your imaginal form. Just as you don't anxiously wait for the sun to rise each morning, knowing with certainty that it will, so too should you rest in the certainty that your desire is already yours. This state of relaxed assumption is the key to effortless manifestation. It is the Sabbath spoken of in Scripture, the rest we enter into when we cease from our own labors and allow the Lord to work on our behalf. As you go about your daily life, maintain an attitude of quiet confidence. Know that the entire universe is working to bring about the fulfillment of your desire. Your only task is to remain faithful to your assumption, to persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now, some of you may be experiencing what seems like a delay in the manifestation of your desire. Perhaps you've been practicing these principles for some time without seeing tangible results. To you, I say, do not be discouraged. Remember, what you are doing is reprogramming your entire subconscious mind, overcoming a lifetime of limiting beliefs and assumptions. This process takes time, but it is inevitable. Just a seed planted in the ground will inevitably grow into a plant, so too will your assumption inevitably manifest in your physical reality. The only variable is time, and time is determined by the intensity of your faith and the consistency of your assumption. If you find your faith wavering, if doubts and fears arise, do not fight against them. Simply acknowledge them and return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Every time you do this, you are strengthening your new assumption, making it more and more real to you. Remember, the outer world is a delayed reflection of your inner state. Continue to live from the end. Continue to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, and you will see your world transform before your eyes. Now, let us address another aspect of this work that many find challenging. The concept of everyone is you pushed out. This principle states that every person in your life is a reflection of your own consciousness. They play the roles that you have assigned to them through your beliefs and assumptions. This can be a difficult concept to accept, especially when we encounter people who seem to oppose our desires or who behave in ways that cause us pain. But I urge you to consider, if everyone is you pushed out, then changing others becomes as simple as changing yourself. Instead of trying to manipulate or control others, focus on changing your conception of them. See them as you would like them to be. Assume that they are already behaving in ways that align with your desire. As you do this consistently, you will be amazed at how their behavior towards you begins to change. This principle extends beyond individual relationships to encompass your entire world experience. The events you see on the news, the state of the economy, the condition of the environment, all of these are reflections of collective human consciousness. And as an individualization of that consciousness, you have the power to influence these collective states through your own assumptions. Imagine the implications of this understanding. By assuming a state of peace and harmony within yourself, you contribute to the manifestation of peace in the world. By assuming abundance and prosperity, you play a part in creating a more prosperous world for all. This is the true meaning of being the change you wish to see in the world. It is not about external action, although inspired action will naturally flow from your changed state. It is about embodying the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desired reality. As you practice living from the end, as you persistently assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you will begin to experience what I call signs following. These are external events and circumstances that confirm your new assumption. They may seem like coincidences or strokes of good fortune, but they are in fact the natural results of your changed consciousness. When you experience these signs following, do not make the mistake of becoming overly excited or attached to them. Simply acknowledge them as confirmation that the law is working and continue to live from the end. Remember, your desire is not something to be achieved in the future. It is a present fact in your imagination. And it is from this present fact that you must live. Now, I want to address a common misconception about this work. Many people believe that the law of assumption can only be used for material gain or personal advantage. Nothing could be further from the truth. The highest use of this law is for spiritual awakening and the realization of your true divine nature. As you practice living from the end, as you cultivate the ability to assume states of consciousness at will, you are in fact preparing yourself for the ultimate assumption, the realization of your oneness with God. This is the true purpose of all desire, to lead you back to your divine source. Every desire you have, whether for material success, loving relationships, or personal growth, is ultimately a desire for the feeling those things will give you. And that feeling is a state of consciousness, a way of being. As you master the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are mastering the art of consciously choosing your state of being. This is why I say that desire is the august messenger of God. It is through our desires that we are led to explore different stored consciousness, different ways of being. And through this exploration, we eventually come to realize our true nature as infinite, eternal beings of pure awareness. So do not judge your desires as good or bad, spiritual or material. All desires serve the ultimate purpose of awakening you to your true self. Embrace them. Use them as opportunities to practice the law of assumption. And watch as they lead you to ever higher states of consciousness. As we conclude, remember this, your prayer is already answered. The power to manifest your desires lies within you. It's not about making things happen, but aligning with the reality where they've already occurred. Your imagination is the creative force shaping your world. What you consistently imagine and feel as real will inevitably manifest. This isn't wishful thinking, but a fundamental law of consciousness. Practice living from the end. Feel the joy and gratitude of your fulfilled desire. Let this feeling permeate your being. As you maintain this state, your outer world will reshape itself to match your inner vision. Remember, everyone and everything in your life reflects your consciousness. Change your conception of yourself and others, and watch as your reality transforms. Persistence is key. Your only task is to remain faithful to your assumption. Trust in the perfect timing of the universe. Release attachment to how or when your desire will manifest. Every challenge is an opportunity to practice revision. You can rewrite any event in your imagination, changing your past and present. Your desires are divine messages, leading you to explore different states of consciousness. Embrace them as stepping stones to spiritual awakening. As you master the art of conscious assumption, you're preparing for the ultimate realization, your oneness with the divine. This is the true purpose of all desire and manifestation. Go forth with the knowledge that you are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness creates your reality. Live from this understanding and watch as miracles unfold in your life. Your prayers is answered. Your desire is fulfilled. It is done. Imagine, if you will, that your current reality is like a garment you wear. It may feel comfortable, familiar, even inevitable. But I assure you it is no more permanent or real than the clothes on your back. You can change it just as easily as you change your attire. The secret lies in recognizing and utilizing the God-gifted power within you. Now you might be wondering, Neville, how can I use this power to manifest my desired life? And therein lies the crux of our discussion today. The power to manifest your desires lies not in some external deity, but within you. It is your consciousness, your awareness, that is the very substance of reality. You see, the world you experience is not happening to you. It is happening from you. Every circumstance, every event, every interaction in your life is a reflection of your inner state. These are not random occurrences, but the outpicturing of your assumptions and beliefs. When you truly grasp this, you understand the immense power you hold to shape your reality. So how do we begin to use this God-gifted power to manifest our desired life? The first step is to clearly define what you wish to manifest. What is it that you truly desire? Be specific. Don't simply say, I want to be happy. Instead, imagine in vivid detail what your life looks like when you have achieved your desire. How do you feel? What are you doing? How do you spend your time? The more specific and detailed your vision, the more real it becomes in your mind. Once you have this clear vision, the next step is to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is crucial. You must feel the reality of your desire now, not in some distant future. Remember, your subconscious mind doesn't understand time. It only understands the present moment. So if you constantly feel that your desire is something in the future, it will always remain in the future. Instead, assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled now. How would you feel if your desire were already realized? Would you feel joyful, confident, free, grateful? Embody these feelings. Live from this state of being. This is not pretending or lying to yourself. This is assuming a new state of consciousness, which is the very essence of using your God-gifted power. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can I feel something that isn't yet true? This is where the power of your imagination comes into play. Your imagination is the bridge between your current reality and your desired state. It is through your imagination that you can step into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even before it manifests in the physical world. Your imagination is not a flight of fancy or a frivolous faculty. It is the very workshop wherein you fashion your future. When you imagine, you are experiencing reality at its most fundamental level. You are engaging with the pure potential of consciousness, shaping it with your attention and your assumption. To use your imagination effectively, you must first quiet your conscious mind. The chattering of your daily thoughts, your worries, your doubts, these must be silenced. Enter a state of relaxation, a state akin to sleep, but in which you remain consciously aware. In this state, your subconscious mind becomes more receptive to impression. Once in this relaxed state, construct your scene. This scene should be one that implies the fulfillment of your desire. If your desire is for a successful career, you might imagine yourself in your ideal office or receiving congratulations from colleagues. If it's financial abundance you seek, imagine yourself looking at your bank statement with joy and gratitude. The scene should be short and simple. It's not about creating an elaborate story, but about capturing a moment that implies your desire is now a fact. This scene is your platform, the stage upon which you will enact the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Now step into this scene. Don't watch it as a spectator, but experience it from the first-person perspective. Be there in that moment. And as you experience it, let the feeling of fulfillment wash over you. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the satisfaction of having your desire realized. This is where many falter in their attempts to use their God-gifted power. They can see the scene clearly, but they fail to evoke the feeling. Remember, it is the feeling that gives life to your imaginal act. Without feeling, visualization is merely a mental exercise. With feeling, it becomes an act of creation. As you practice this, you may find that the feeling comes more easily with repetition. Each time you return to your scene, the feeling becomes more vivid, more real. This is good. You are strengthening the impression upon your subconscious mind. But here's a crucial point. Once you have evoked the feeling, once you have impressed it upon your subconscious, you must carry it with you into your waking life. This is where many stumble. They do their visualization exercise, They feel it intensely in the moment. But then they return to their daily life and fall back into old patterns of thought and feeling. To manifest your desired life, to truly use your God-gifted power, you must maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even in the face of contradictory evidence. This is where faith comes in. Not blind faith, but faith born of understanding. Understanding that your outer world is a reflection of your inner state. When you truly grasp this, you will no longer be swayed by appearances. You will know that what you see around you is the effect, not the cause. The cause lies in your consciousness, in your feeling. And as you persist in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, your outer world must reshape itself to match this inner conviction. Now let us address a common challenge in using your God-gifted power: the apparent contradictions of your senses. As you begin to live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you may find that your current circumstances seem to contradict your assumption. How do you maintain your feeling in the face of these seeming contradictions? This is where the art of ignoring comes into play. To ignore is not to deny the existence of something, but to refrain from giving it your attention and energy. When contradictory evidence appears, acknowledge it briefly, then immediately return your attention to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Remember, what you see in your outer world is the result of past assumptions, past feelings. It is like an echo of what you once believed. Your task now is to give more attention, more importance, more reality to your new assumption than to these outdated circumstances. This practice requires mental discipline. It requires you to stand firm in your new assumption even when your senses argue against it. But remember, your senses only show you what has been, not what can be. Your imagination, informed by your feeling, shows you what will be. As you persist in maintaining the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even in the face of contradictory evidence, you will begin to see changes in your outer world. These changes may start small: a fortunate coincidence, an unexpected opportunity, a shift in someone's behavior towards you. Do not dismiss these as mere chance. They are the first fruits of your new assumption taking root. Now let us delve deeper into the nature of feeling and using your God-gifted power. When I speak of feeling, I am not referring merely to emotions, though emotions play a part. I am speaking of a deeper sense, a knowing, an unshakable conviction. It is the difference between saying, I want to be successful, and knowing in the very core of your being, I am successful. This feeling, conviction, is not something you can fake or force. It arises naturally when you have successfully impressed your desire upon your subconscious mind. This is why the repeated use of your imagination is so crucial. Each time you return to your imaginal scene, each time you step into the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are deepening this impression. Then think of it like wearing a groove in a record. The first time you play the record, the needle may skip and jump. But with repeated plays, the groove deepens and the music plays smoothly. Similarly, as you repeat your imaginal act, the feeling becomes more natural, more habitual. It becomes your dominant state. This is the state from which creation occurs. When you can maintain this feeling, conviction throughout your day, when it becomes as natural as breathing, you have mastered the art of using your God-gifted power. Your outer world has no choice but to conform to this inner state. But what of those moments when doubt creeps in? When fear arises? When the old patterns of thought and feeling try to reassert themselves? These moments are inevitable, especially in the beginning of your practice. Do not be discouraged by them. Instead, see them as opportunities to strengthen your new assumption. When doubt arises, do not fight it. Fighting against the thought only gives it more power. Instead, gently but firmly return to your feeling of wish fulfilled. Remind yourself that what you see around you is the past. Your new assumption, your new feeling is creating your future. This brings us to another crucial aspect of using your God-gifted power, the concept of living in the end. Living in the end means assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled in your day-to-day life. It's not enough to visualize for a few minutes each day and then return to your old patterns of thought and feeling. You must carry the feeling of your wish fulfilled with you throughout your day. This doesn't mean you deny your current circumstances. Rather, you acknowledge them briefly, then immediately return to the feeling of your desire fulfilled. You live from the assumption that what you desire is already yours. For example, if your desire is for financial abundance, you would feel the security, freedom, and joy of wealth as you go about your day. When you make purchases, you would feel the ease and confidence of someone who has more than enough. When you interact with others, you would carry yourself with the assurance of a wealthy person. Living in the end requires a shift in your entire way of being. It's not about pretending or play acting. It's about genuinely assuming a new state of consciousness. When you do this effectively, you'll find that your actions naturally align with your assumed state, accelerating the manifestation process. Now, let us ask the role of action in using your God-gifted power. Some people mistakenly believe that manifesting means they can simply imagine their desires and then sit back and wait for them to magically appear. This is not the case. Using your gifted power does not negate action, it informs action. When you successfully impress your desire upon your subconscious mind, when you truly feel your wish fulfilled, you will be inspired to take actions that align with this state. These actions will feel natural, even inevitable. They will not be driven by fear or lack, but will flow from your assumed state of fulfillment. This is a crucial distinction. When you take action from a place of lack, trying to get what you desire, you are actually affirming the assumption of not having it. But when you take action from the assumption of already having your desire fulfilled, you open yourself to infinite possibilities for its expression and expansion. So do not neglect action, but ensure that your actions are aligned with and flowing from your assumed state. Let your feeling guide your actions, rather than hoping your actions will create the feeling. This alignment of inner state and outer action is key to manifesting your desired life. Now, let us explore detachment in relation to using your God-gifted power. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care about your desire. Rather, it means you're not anxiously attached to seeing immediate results or figuring out how your desire will manifest. When you're truly living in the end, you can imagine and feel your desire fulfilled without constantly looking for signs of its manifestation. You trust in the process, knowing that as you maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled, it must inevitably express itself in your outer world. Detachment allows you to live in the present moment while holding your assumed state. It frees you from the anxiety and doubt that can slow down the manifestation process. It allows you to enjoy the journey of manifestation rather than being solely focused on the destination. Practice detachment by reminding yourself that your imaginal act imbued with feeling is the reality. What you see in the outer world is just a shadow, a reflection of past assumptions. As you persist in your new assumption, this shadow must change to match the new reality you're imagining and feeling. Let us now address the importance of gratitude in using your God-gifted power. Gratitude is not just a pleasant emotion. It is a powerful creative force. When you feel genuinely grateful, you are affirming that you already have what you desire. This aligns perfectly with the principle of living in the end. Begin to cultivate an attitude of gratitude for your desire, even before you see it manifested in your physical reality. Be thankful for it as if it were already yours. Feel appreciation for the abundance that surrounds you in all forms. The air you breathe, the sun that shines, the food you eat. As you practice gratitude, you are assuming the state of someone who has their desire fulfilled. This assumption, persistently held, must manifest in your outer world as the realization of your desire. Now let us explore the power of revision in using your God-gifted power. Revision is not merely about changing your memories or rewriting your past. It is about recognizing that the past only exists in your mind and therefore it can be changed in your mind. At the end of each day, take a few moments to review the events of your day. If there were any events that were not to your liking, revise them in your imagination. See them unfolding in a way that aligns with your desired state. Feel the satisfaction, the joy, the fulfillment of this revised version of events. By doing this, you are not denying what physically happened. You are changing the impact of that event on your subconscious mind. You are impressing upon your subconscious a reality that aligns with your desires rather than one that contradicts them. As you make this practice of revision a habit, you will find that your reactions to current events begin to change. You'll become less reactive, more peaceful, more aligned with your desired states of being. This alignment accelerates the manifestation process. Let us now discuss the importance of persistence in using your God-gifted power. While we speak of manifesting desires, it's important to understand that the speed of manifestation can vary. Some desires may manifest almost instantly, while others may take more time to fully materialize in your physical reality. The key is to persist in your assumption, regardless of how long it seems to be taking. Remember, the outer world is a reflection of your inner state. If you waver in your assumption, if you lose faith in the process, you send mixed signals to your subconscious mind, which can slow down the manifestation process. Persistence doesn't mean forcing or struggling. It means consistently returning to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, even when the outer world seems to contradict it. It means choosing again and again to live from the end, to embody the state of having your desire realized. This persistence requires faith, not blind faith, but faith born of understanding. Understanding that your outer world is a reflection of your inner state, and that as you persist in your new assumption, your world must reshape itself to match it. Now let us address the role of self-concept in using your God-gifted power. Your self-concept, the beliefs you hold about who you are, is perhaps the most powerful factor in determining the path in your life. Many people struggle to manifest their desires because their self-concept contradicts what they're trying to achieve. They may visualize wealth, but deep down, they don't believe they're the kind of person who can be wealthy. They may imagine a loving relationship, but fundamentally believe they're unworthy of love. To use your God-gifted power effectively, you must be willing to revise your self-concept. This involves imagining and feeling yourself as the person who already has what you desire. It's not about creating a false image of yourself, but about recognizing and embracing your true, limitless nature. Remember, at your core, you are pure consciousness. You are not defined by your past experiences, your current circumstances, or the opinions of others. You are the awareness in which all these things appear. And this awareness, your true self, is infinite in its potential. As you use your imagination to assume your desired states, you are essentially recreating yourself. You are stepping into a new concept of self, a new understanding of who you are and what's possible for you. This revision of self-concept is crucial for using your God-gifted power effectively. As you align your self-concept with your desires, you remove the inner contradictions that can slow down the manifestation process. Now, let us explore the role of emotion in using your God-gifted power. Emotion is the fuel that powers your imaginal acts. It's not enough to merely visualize or think about your desires. You must feel them. When you combine vivid imagination with genuine emotion, you create a powerful impression on your subconscious mind. This is because your subconscious responds more strongly to feeling than to intellectual thought. The emotions you want to cultivate are those you would feel if your desire were already realized. If your desire is for wealth, feel the security, the freedom, the joy that comes with financial abundance. If it's a loving relationship you seek, feel the love, the connection, the companionship. These emotions should be so real, so intense, that when you open your eyes and return to your present circumstances, you carry with you a sense of fulfillment, as if your desire has already been realized. This emotional component is what distinguishes effective use of your God-gifted power from mere daydreaming or wishful thinking. When you can genuinely feel your desire as an accomplished fact, you are impressing it upon your subconscious mind as a reality. Your subconscious then works tirelessly to bring this feeling into physical manifestation. As we near the conclusion of our exploration, remember this: the power to manifest your desired life lies within you. It is your God-gifted power, your divine birthright. It resides in your ability to imagine vividly, to feel deeply, and to persist faithfully in the assumption of your wish fulfilled. The secret to manifestation is not determined by external factors, but by the intensity of your belief and the consistency of your imaginal acts. Go forth from here with this knowledge. Apply these principles in your daily life. Use your imagination consciously and deliberately to create scenes that imply the fulfillment of your desires. Feel the reality of your wish fulfilled with every fiber of your being. Persist in this feeling even when your senses deny it. For as you do, you are reshaping your entire world, manifesting your desires with a speed and precision that might seem miraculous to others. Remember, you are the operant power in your world. You are limited only by your ability to imagine and to feel the reality of your wishes fulfilled. Embrace this truth. Live from this understanding. And watch as your world transforms around you, reflecting the newfound mastery of your God-gifted power. Thank you. And may your journey of conscious creation be filled with joy, wonder, and the thrill of manifesting your deepest desires. Go now and create the life you've always dreamed of, for you are the master of your destiny, the author of your reality. My dear wonderful friends, tonight we will explore one of the most powerful yet misunderstood principles in the art of manifestation, the divine law of silence and selective association. Many of you have come to me asking, Neville, why do my manifestations sometimes fail? Or why do things seem to fall apart just when they're about to succeed? Tonight I will share with you a profound truth that will transform your understanding of the law. Let me begin by telling you why silence is not merely the absence of speech, but the very foundation of your creative power. In Scripture we read, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness, this divine silence, is not a mere suggestion. It is the very secret of creation itself. Consider how God created the world. Did he announce his intentions to anyone? Did he seek validation or approval? No, my dear friends. In the depths of silence, in the quiet of his own being, he spoke the words, "Let there be," and it was done. This is your pattern. This is your blueprint. I remember who came to me in New York. She had been trying to manifest a specific position in her company, a position that seemed impossible to obtain given her current status. She had told everyone about her desire, seeking advice, validation, and support. For months, nothing happened. Then she heard this principle of silence and everything changed. She did something remarkable. She cut off all discussion of her desire. She stopped seeking opinions, stopped announcing her intentions, and most importantly, she went into what I call the sacred silence. Within 3 weeks, not only was she offered the position she desired, but she was offered an even better one she hadn't even imagined possible. You see, when you speak of your desires to others, you are diffusing your creative power. Every time you discuss your intentions, you are releasing the pressure of the creative force that should be building within you. It's like puncturing a balloon before it's fully inflated, the air escapes, and the balloon never reaches its intended form. Let me share with you what I call the law of sacred silence. This law states that every desire has its own gestation period, just as every seed has its own time of growth. When you plant a seed in the ground, do you dig it up every day to check its progress? Do you tell everyone about the seed you've planted and ask their opinion on whether it will grow? Of course not. You plant it in the silence of the earth and let it grow undisturbed. Your desires are spiritual seeds, and your consciousness is the soil in which they grow. Every time you speak of your desires to others, you are essentially digging up your seed to show it to the world. How can it grow if you don't give it the silence it needs to take root? But tonight, I want to take you deeper than you've ever gone before into understanding why cutting all contacts is equally crucial to your manifestation. This is not about isolation, it's about insulation. You must insulate your consciousness from the doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs of others. Consider the story of Noah. Before the flood came, he was instructed to enter the ark and seal it. This is not a historical account, but a psychological drama playing out in consciousness. The ark represents your consciousness, and sealing it represents cutting off contact with all that would disturb your assumption of the wish fulfilled. Many of you maintain relationships and connections that constantly pull you back into old states of consciousness. Try to rise to a new level of being while staying connected to those who know you as you were, not as you desire to be. This is like trying to fly while keeping your feet chained to the ground. Let me tell you about a student of mine who understood this principle perfectly. He desired to move from poverty to wealth, but he realized that his daily associations were keeping him anchored in the consciousness of lack. His friends, though well-meaning, constantly spoke of limitations, of how difficult it was to make money, of how the economy was against them. He made a bold decision. He temporarily cut all contacts that reinforced the old state of poverty consciousness. He didn't do this unkindly or abruptly, but he quietly withdrew from circles that kept him tied to the old state. Instead of spending evenings discussing lack with his usual companions, he went into silence and lived in the assumption of his wish fulfilled. The results were extraordinary. Within 6 months, his entire financial reality transformed. But notice something crucial. He didn't announce his intentions to withdraw. He didn't make declarations about cutting contacts. He simply did it in silence, with the same naturalness with which you would close a door to keep out the cold. Now let me share with you what I call the 3 chambers of silence. The first chamber is physical silence, the cessation of speaking about your desires. The second chamber is mental silence, the quieting of internal chatter and doubt. The third chamber, and most profound, is spiritual silence, the complete surrender to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Many of you enter the first chamber easily enough. You can stop talking about your desires. Some of you even master the second chamber, controlling your thoughts. But it's the third where the real power lies, and this chamber can only be entered when you've cut the ties that bind you to your old state. Think of Lot's wife in Scripture. She was told not to look back at the city she was leaving. This is not a story about physical geography. It's about consciousness. When you're moving into a new state of being, you cannot keep looking back at the old state or maintaining connections with those who are not old state. Let me tell you about the law of state resonance. Everything and everyone in your life is a reflection of the state you occupy. When you try to enter a new state while maintaining connections with those who resonate with your old state, you create a psychological conflict that prevents your complete transformation. I recall a gentleman in Los Angeles who desired to become a renowned author. He had talent, he had ideas, but he remained stuck in obscurity. Why? Because he kept himself surrounded by people who knew him as a struggling writer. Their very presence in his life kept him anchored to that state of struggle. One day, after hearing these principles, he did something that seemed drastic to others, but was perfectly natural to him. He cut all contacts with his writing group, stopped attending literary gatherings where people complained about how hard it was to get published, and went into complete silence about his work. Instead of discussing his book with others, he lived in the silence of his completed wish. He would walk into bookstores and quietly see his book on the shelves. He would silently feel the weight of his published work in his hands. He stopped seeking validation, stopped asking for opinions, and most importantly, stopped connecting with those who knew him as anything less than a successful author. Here's what you must understand about the power of cutting contacts. It's not about avoiding people. It's about avoiding states. Every person in your life represents a state of consciousness. When you maintain connections with those who know you in your old state, you're making it infinitely harder to fully occupy your new state. Consider the biblical instruction, come out from among them and be ye separate. This is not about physical separation, but about separating yourself from states that contradict your desire. When you truly understand this, you'll see why maintaining certain contacts keeps you bound to states you're trying to leave. Let me introduce you to what I call the principle of state solidarity. This principle states that your consciousness naturally seeks alignment with the predominant consciousness of those around you. This is why being around people who knew you in your old state makes it challenging to maintain your new assumption. Think of it like tuning a radio. You're trying to tune into the frequency of your desire, but the old contacts in your life keep pulling the dial back to the old frequency. The solution is not to fight against this pulling. The solution is to remove yourself from the range of the old frequency entirely. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't it selfish to cut contacts with people? Let me tell you something profound. You're not cutting contact with people. You're cutting contact with states. When you successfully establish yourself in your new state, you'll find that some of these people will either transform with you or naturally fall away. Let me share with you what I call the law of silent transformation. When a caterpillar enters its cocoon, it doesn't announce its transformation. It doesn't seek approval from other caterpillars. It doesn't maintain connections with its caterpillar life. In perfect silence, in complete isolation, it undergoes its magnificent transformation. This is your pattern. When you're transforming into a new state of consciousness, you must enter your own psychological cocoon. This is why silence and cutting contacts are not just helpful suggestions. They are spiritual imperatives. I remember a woman in my New York lectures who desired marriage. She had been dating for years, constantly discussing her relationships with friends, always seeking advice, always maintaining connections with people who knew her as the single friend. She was constantly in what I call the state of seeking. After learning these principles, she did something revolutionary. She cut all contacts with her dating circles, stopped discussing relationships entirely, and withdrew from the constant social commentary about her love life. Instead, she went into complete silence and lived in the assumption of being happily married. Her friends thought she had become antisocial. Some even criticized her for withdrawing, but she understood something they didn't. She couldn't become the woman she desired to be while maintaining connections that kept her in the state of seeking. Here's what you must understand about the power of silence. It's not merely the absence of noise, it's the presence of power. When you go into silence about your desires, when you cut contacts with those who know you as you were, you are creating a vacuum in consciousness. And nature abhors a vacuum? Let me introduce you to the 4 stages of silent creation. The first stage is recognition, recognizing that your current contacts and conversations are keeping you bound to your old state. The second stage is withdrawal, quietly removing yourself from environments and relationships that reinforce the old state. The third stage is silence, maintaining complete silence about your transformation. The fourth stage is emergence, naturally revealing your new state once it's fully embodied. Most people fail because they try to skip stages. They recognize the need for change, but maintain all their old contacts. They try to withdraw, but keep announcing their withdrawal. They attempt silence, but keep checking if it's working. Remember, a seed doesn't grow faster because you keep checking on it. Consider Joseph in Scripture. When he received his dream of greatness, did he maintain connections with those who knew him as a slave? No. He was separated from all his old contacts, placed in what appeared to be adverse circumstances. But these very circumstances were preparing him for his transformation. This brings us to what I call the principle of sacred separation. Just as a pregnant woman carries her unborn child in the silence and privacy of her psalm, you must carry your desire in the silence and privacy of your consciousness. Every time you discuss it, every time you maintain contact with those who doubt it, you're exposing your unborn desire to harmful elements. Let me tell you about a businessman who came to me in desperate circumstances. His company was failing, and he had been constantly discussing his problems with everyone who would listen. His entire network consisted of people who knew him as the owner of a struggling business. I shared with him these principles, and he understood them at a deep level. He stopped attending business networking events where people discussed market difficulties. He cut contacts with his commiseration circle, those friends who gathered to share business troubles. He went into complete silence about his company status. Instead of seeking advice, he sought silence. Instead of maintaining connections that reinforced failure, he insulated his consciousness in the assumption of success. To the outside world, he seemed to have become a recluse. But in the silence of his consciousness, a transformation was taking place. What happened next illustrates perfectly what I call the law of silent attraction. Within 3 months, his business began attracting opportunities that had been there all along, but were invisible to him while he was in the state of struggle and constant discussion. You see, when you're constantly talking about your problems, constantly maintaining contacts with those who reinforce your limitations, you're blind to the opportunities surrounding you. Let me share with you the deeper metaphysical reason why silence and cutting contacts are so crucial. In Scripture, we read, "In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength." This is not merely poetic language, it's a precise description of the law of consciousness. When you maintain silence and cut contacts with the old state, you're doing something profound. You're creating what I call a consciousness vacuum. Nature must fill this vacuum, but it can only fill it with whatever corresponds to your assumed state. Consider this principle: every person in your life is a mirror reflecting back to you your state of consciousness. When you maintain contacts with those who knew you in your old state, you're constantly being reminded of who you were, not who you desire to be. This is why cutting contacts is not an act of rejection, but an act of spiritual wisdom. I remember a teacher who came to me. She had been trying to manifest a position at a prestigious university, but she kept herself surrounded by colleagues who knew her as a struggling substitute teacher. Every conversation, every interaction, every relationship reinforced her current state. She understood these principles and did something that seemed radical to others. She quietly withdrew from her regular social circles. She stopped attending teachers' gatherings where the conversation centered around limited opportunities. She cut contacts with those who consistently reminded her of her current circumstances. Instead, she went into what I call the silence of assumption. In this silence, free from the constant reinforcement of her old state, she lived completely in the assumption of being a distinguished professor. She didn't tell anyone about this inner transformation. She didn't seek validation. She simply lived in the silence of her fulfilled desire. Here's what you must understand about the power of sacred isolation. When you isolate yourself from influences that contradict your desired state, you're not being antisocial, you're being spiritually wise. Just as a scientist must create a controlled environment for certain experiments, you must create a controlled environment in consciousness for your transformation. Let me introduce you to what I call the 7 seals of silence. The first seal is physical withdrawal, removing yourself from environments that reinforce the old state. The second seal is social disconnection, cutting contacts with those who know you only as you were. The third seal is conversational silence, refusing to discuss your transformation or desire. The fourth seal is mental quietude, silencing the internal dialogue about your past state. The fifth seal is emotional stillness, maintaining calm confidence in your assumption. The sixth seal is spiritual insulation, protecting your consciousness from doubt and disbelief. The seventh seal is complete absorption, living entirely in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Each of these seals must be maintained if you wish to complete your transformation. Breaking even one seal can allow the old state to seep back into your consciousness. Consider the biblical story of the 3 wise men. After they saw the Christ child, they were warned in a dream not to return to Herod. This is a psychological truth. Once you've conceived your new state, seeing the Christ child, you must not return to the old state, Herod. You must take another way home. Now let me share with you what I call the ultimate law of silent achievement. When you understand this law, you'll never again question the power of silence and selective contact. Every great achievement in history, every significant transformation has followed this pattern of silence and sacred isolation. Think of Jesus going into the wilderness for 40 days. Think of Buddha leaving his palace and social circles. Think of every great inventor, artist, or visionary who withdrew from society to birth their creation. This is not coincidence, it's law. Let me tell you about my own experience with this principle. When I first discovered these truths, I didn't announce them to the world. I went into silence. I cut contacts with those who knew me as the old man. In that silence, in that sacred isolation, I experienced what I call the great knowing. Here's what you must do starting tonight. First, make a solemn covenant with yourself, a covenant of silence. No more discussing your desires, your plans, your transformations with anyone. Second, begin what I call the great withdrawal, systematically cutting contacts with those who hold you in your old state. But remember, this is not about physical isolation, it's about state isolation. You're not rejecting people, you're rejecting states of consciousness that no longer serve your transformation. I'll share with you the 5 commands of silent power. Thou shalt not speak of thy desire to anyone. Thou shalt cut all contacts that anchor thee to the old state. Thou shalt live completely in the silence of thy wish fulfilled. Thou shalt not return to check on thy progress. Thou shalt maintain thy silence until thy manifestation is complete. These commands are not suggestions, they are spiritual laws that must be obeyed if you wish to transform your reality. Consider this final principle I call the law of silent emergence. Just as a butterfly emerges from its cocoon, only when its transformation is complete, you should only re-emerge into the world when your new state is fully embodied. Let me tell you about the 3 signs of complete transformation. First, when your new state feels more natural than your old state. Second, when maintaining silence requires no effort. Third, when your old contacts naturally fall away or transform to match your new state. Remember, my dear friends, that silence is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of power. Cutting contacts is not the absence of relationship. It's the presence of spiritual wisdom. As we conclude tonight's talk, I want to leave you with this final truth. Your world is your consciousness pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every condition in your life is there because of the state you occupy. When you change your state in silence, when you cut contacts with the old state, you automatically change your world. Go forth now in doubt, not in fear, but in the absolute knowing that as you maintain your silence, as you cut contacts with the old state, your transformation must manifest. It's law. Remember these words from Scripture. Be still and know that I am God. This stillness, this silence, this sacred isolation, this is your path to transformation. And now, my dear wonderful friends, as we close this evening, take with you this solemn truth: your silence is your power. Your withdrawal from the old state is your pathway to the new. Maintain this silence, maintain this sacred isolation, and watch as your world transforms to match your silent assumption. For in the end, it is not in the noise of the world, but in the silence of your consciousness that all things are created. It is not in maintaining old contacts, but in sacred isolation that transformation occurs. Go now in silence and confidence in the absolute knowing that what you desire is already yours. For in consciousness, all things are possible to him who believes and maintains the silence of that belief. Good night and God bless you all. I want you to cast aside all preconceived notions about achievement, success, and fulfillment. For tonight we shall explore a truth so fundamental, yet so often overlooked, that it has the power to completely reshape your existence. Consider for a moment the energy you expend in chasing after your desires, the constant striving, the endless pursuit, the relentless push towards what you believe will bring you happiness. This chase, my dear listeners, is the very thing keeping you from your desires. It is a game you can never win, for in the act of chasing, you affirm the absence of what you seek. But I say unto you, there's another way, a way that aligns with the very fabric of creation, a way that harnesses the power of your imagination and the law of assumption. This way is not about chasing, but about becoming. It is not about doing, but about being. When you chase after something, you are operating from a state of lack. You are telling the universe, I do not have this, and so I must pursue it. But the universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not respond to your actions. It responds to your state of being, to the assumptions you hold about yourself and your world. Imagine, if you will, a man who desperately wants to be wealthy. He chases after money, working long hours, constantly worrying about his finances, always seeking the next opportunity to increase his wealth. This man, despite his efforts, finds that wealth eludes him. Why? Because in his relentless pursuit, he is affirming his current state of lack. He is living from the assumption that he does not have wealth. And so the universe faithfully reflects this assumption back to him. Now consider another man. This man, rather than chasing wealth, assumes the state of wealth. He lives from the end, feeling the naturalness of being wealthy. He does not pursue money, for in his mind, he already has it. His actions flow not from a place of lack, but from a place of abundance. And lo and behold, opportunities for wealth begin to present themselves to him, seemingly out of nowhere. This, my friends, is the power of letting it come to you. It is not about inaction, but about inspired action. It is about aligning your inner state with your desired outcome, and then allowing the universe to orchestrate the means. But how, you may ask, does one make this shift? How does one stop the chase and start the allowing? The answer lies in the power of your wonderful human imagination. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker. It is the very workshop in which reality is forged. When you imagine yourself in the state of your wish fulfilled, when you assume the feeling of your desire realized, you are not engaging in idle daydreaming. You are engaging in the most powerful creative act known to man. You are impressing upon your subconscious mind a new concept of self, a new assumption about your reality. Let us take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality. So when you stop chasing and instead assume the state of already having what you desire, you are not being passive. You are actively creating your reality from within. You are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, allowing it to work through you and for you. This, my dear listeners, is the essence of let it come to you. It is about recognizing that what you seek is already within you, waiting to be expressed. It is about understanding that the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner assumptions. Consider the biblical phrase, before they call, I will answer. This is not about some external deity responding to your prayers. It is about the creative power within you, which knows your desires even before you consciously formulate them. When you align yourself with this power, when you live from the assumption of your wish fulfilled, you allow this inner wisdom to guide you towards the manifestation of your desires. But let me be clear, this is not about sitting idly and waiting for things to magically appear in your life. It is about a fundamental shift in consciousness. When you truly embody the state of your wish fulfilled, your actions naturally align with that state. You begin to think, speak, and act from the perspective of already being or having what you desire. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a woman who desires a loving relationship. In the old paradigm of chasing, she might frantically go on dates, constantly worry about her appearance, and obsess over finding the one. But in doing so, she is affirming her current state of being single and searching. Now imagine this same woman shifting her approach. Instead of chasing a relationship, she assumes the state of being in a loving partnership. She feels the joy, the security, the companionship in her imagination. She lives each day from this assumption, carrying herself with the confidence and contentment of someone who is deeply loved. In this state, she no longer desperately seeks a partner. She may still go on dates, but she does so from a place of fullness rather than lack. And in doing so, she becomes magnetic to the very love she desires. She allows it to come to her, drawn by the power of her assumption and the clarity of her vibration. This principle applies to every area of your life, my friends. Whether you seek wealth, health, success, or any other desire, the key is to stop chasing and start embodying. For what you are seeking is also seeking you, but it can only find you when you align yourself with its frequency. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this denial of my current reality? And to this I say emphatically no. This is not about denying your current circumstances. It is about understanding the true nature of reality. Your current circumstances are nothing more than the fruit of your past assumptions and beliefs. They have no power to determine your future unless you give them that power by continuing to focus on them. When you shift your focus, when you assume a new state, you are not denying reality. You are exercising your divine right to choose which reality you wish to experience. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that gives life to your experiences. When you chase after things in the outer world, you are chasing shadows, reflections of past states of consciousness. But when you change your consciousness, when you assume a new state, you cause the outer world to rearrange itself to match your new assumption. This, my dear friends, is the true secret of effortless manifestation. It is about aligning yourself with the law of assumption, recognizing that what you seek is seeking you, and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your imagination and belief. But let me warn you, this is not always an easy path. The old habits of chasing, of striving, of efforting are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. As you embark on this new way of being, you may find resistance arising within you. Doubts may creep in, old patterns may try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts and feelings. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your new assumption. For the war is not won by battling against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying what you do want. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, you don't need to fight against your current reality or forcefully push away unwanted circumstances. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of your desire, to align yourself with the state of your wish fulfilled. This aligning, this tuning is done through your imagination. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, this is not a one-time event. It is a way of life. Just as you wouldn't expect to stay in shape by exercising once, you cannot expect to manifest its desires by imagining once. This is about persistently assuming the state of your wish fulfilled, about living from that state day in and day out, until it becomes your new normal. As you do this, you will find that the very concept of chasing begins to fade from your consciousness. For how can you chase what you already are? How can you pursue what you already have? This shift in perception is the key to allowing your desires to flow effortlessly into your experience. Now, some of you may be wondering, but what about action? Don't we need to do something to bring our desires into manifestation? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process, but it is inspired action, not frantic doing. When you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, when you live from the end, you will find that ideas and opportunities naturally present themselves to you. You will be inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions, but these actions will not feel like effort or struggle. They will feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between chasing and allowing. When you're chasing, actions feel forced, stressful, born out of fear and lack. When you're allowing, actions flow naturally from your assumed state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to bring your desires into manifestation. Consider the example of a tree. A tree does not chase after sunlight, water, or nutrients. It simply grows, naturally extending its branches towards the sun, its roots towards water and nutrients. It allows these elements to come to it, and in doing so, it fulfills its nature and purpose. You, my dear listeners, are no different. You are a divine creature, imbued with the same creative power that brings forth worlds. When you align yourself with this power, when you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you allow the universe to bring to you all that you need for the manifestation of your desires. But let me be clear, this allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate assumption of the state of your wish fulfilled. It requires faith, not blind faith in an external power, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. This faith is not about believing that your desire will manifest someday in the future. It is about believing that your desire is already yours in the realm of imagination, and that the outer world must inevitably conform to this inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in your assumption, you will begin to see signs of your desire manifesting in your outer world. These signs may start small: an overheard conversation that confirms your assumption, an unexpected opportunity that aligns with your desire, a shift in how others respond to you. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full manifestation of your desire. As you notice these signs, allow them to strengthen your faith. Let them be evidence that the law is working, that your assumption is taking root in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. But do not become attached to these signs or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from your assumed state. Remember, the manifestation of your desire is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which your desire naturally flows. When you truly embody the state of your wish fulfilled, you no longer need the outer manifestation to feel complete. You are already whole, already fulfilled in your imagination. This is the paradox of manifestation. When you no longer need something to feel complete, when you are already living from the state of fulfillment, that is when your desires flow most easily into your experience. So, my dear friends, I urge you to stop the chase. Stop pursuing, stop striving, stop efforting. Instead, turn within. Use your mighty imagination to assume the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel the naturalness of being or having what you desire. Live from this state, persist in this assumption, and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your inner vision. Remember, you are not a helpless being pushed around by external circumstances. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the one and only reality. All things are possible to him who believes, for belief shapes reality. As we near the end of our time together, I want to address a question that may be arising in some of your minds. Neville, you might be thinking, this all sounds wonderful. But what if I've been chasing my desire for so long that I don't know how to stop? What if the habit of pursuit is so ingrained that I can't seem to let go? To this I say, fear not, for the power to change is always available to you, in this and every moment. The past has no power over you except that which you give it through your continued attention. Your power lies in the present moment, in your ability to choose your thoughts and assumptions right now. If you find yourself slipping back into the habit of chasing, simply pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself of this truth. What you are seeking is also seeking you. It is not something outside of you that needs to be pursued. It is a state of consciousness that you can assume right now. In that moment of pause, use your imagination to step into the feeling of your wish fulfilled. What would it feel like to already have what you desire? How would you move through your day? How would you interact with others? Immerse yourself in these feelings. Let them permeate your being. This practice of conscious assumption may feel strange at first, especially if you've been in the habit of chasing for a long time. But with persistence, it will become more natural. You will find yourself automatically shifting into the state of your wish fulfilled, allowing your desires to flow to you with ease and grace. Remember, my friends, this is not about forcing yourself to feel something you don't. It's about recognizing that the feeling of fulfillment is already within you, waiting to be acknowledged and expressed. You are not creating something new. You are simply tuning into a frequency that already exists. As you make this shift from chasing to allowing, you may find that your entire perspective on life begins to change. Things that once seemed important may lose their urgency. Pursuits that once consumed your energy may fall away naturally. For when you are living from the state of fulfillment, when you are aligned with your true desires, life becomes less about getting and more about being. This shift is the true gift of letting go of the chase. It's not just about manifesting specific desires, although that will happen. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of life, with the creative power of the universe. It's about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully through you. In this state of alignment, of allowing, you become a channel for the infinite possibilities of the universe. Ideas flow to you effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves naturally. The right people and circumstances appear in your life at the perfect time. This is the magic of living from the state of your wish fulfilled. But remember, this magic is not something external to you. It is not some cosmic force that you need to appease or manipulate. It is the natural expression of your own consciousness when it is aligned with truth. You are the magic. You are the miracle. You are the creative power you've been seeking. As we draw our discussion to a close, I want to leave you with a powerful practice that will help you embody this principle of stop chasing it. Let it come to you. This practice is simple, yet profound in its effects. Each night as you lay in your bed, just before you drift off to sleep, enter into a state of deep relaxation. In this relaxed state, imagine a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Make it as vivid and real as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the emotions you would feel if your desire were already realized. As you fall asleep in this state, you are impressing this new concept of self upon your subconscious mind. You are planting a seed in fertile soil, a seed that will grow and blossom into your physical reality. Do this night after night with faith and persistence. Do not be concerned with the how or when of your desire's manifestation. Your job is not to figure out how it will happen. Your job is simply to assume the state of your wish fulfilled and to live from that state. During your waking hours, Whenever you catch yourself slipping into the old habit of chasing, gently bring yourself back to this state of fulfillment. Remind yourself that what you seek is already yours in consciousness, and that the outer world must conform to this inner reality. As you practice this, you will begin to feel a shift within you, a sense of peace, of certainty, of knowing. This is the feeling of alignment with your true self, with the creative power of the universe. This feeling is your guide, your compass pointing you towards the realization of your desires. Trust this feeling, my friends. Trust the wisdom of your own consciousness, for it knows the perfect timing and the perfect way to bring your desires into manifestation. Your role is simply to maintain the state of your wish fulfilled, to live from the end, and to allow the universe to take care of the details. Remember, the outer world is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner state. As you change your inner state, as you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the outer world must change to match this new vibration. This is not magic, it is law. The law of assumption, the fundamental principle that governs all of creation. As we continue to explore this profound truth, let us delve deeper into the practice of living from the end. This concept, my dear friends, is the key to effortless manifestation. When you live from the end, you are not hoping for a future event. You are experiencing it now in the realm of imagination, which is the true creative realm. Imagine for a moment that you are an actor in a play. The script has already been written, and you know with absolute certainty how the story ends. Would you fret and worry about the outcome? Would you chase after the conclusion? Of course not. You would simply play your part, moment by moment, secure in the knowledge of the final scene. This is how you must approach your life. Know the end, feel it, live it, breathe it. Then, from that state of knowing, live each day. This is not about pretending or forcing yourself to believe something. It's about tapping into the part of you that already has what you desire, that already is what you wish to be. When you truly grasp this, you'll understand why chasing is not only unnecessary but counterproductive. Chasing implies that what you want is somewhere out there, separate from you. But the truth is, everything you desire already exists within you in the infinite realm of possibility that is your consciousness. Let's take a moment to really let this sink in. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, feel yourself letting go of the need to chase, to strive, to struggle. Feel yourself sinking into a state of allowing, of knowing that what you desire is already yours. In this state of allowing, you become a magnet for your desires. You're no longer pushing against reality, trying to force it to conform to your wishes. Instead, you're aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation. You're becoming a channel through which your desires can easily manifest. But remember, this state of allowing is not a passive state. It requires active participation on your part. You must consciously choose moment by moment to live from the end, to feel the feelings, think the thoughts, and take the inspired actions of someone who already has what you desire. This might feel challenging at first, especially if you've been in the habit of chasing for a long time. You might find your mind wanting to slip back into old patterns of worry and lack. When this happens, don't fight it. Simply observe these thoughts and feelings, acknowledge them, and then gently guide your attention back to the state of your wish fulfilled. Think of it like training a puppy. When the puppy wanders off, you don't scold it or punish it. You simply gently bring it back to where you want it to be. Do the same with your mind. Each time you catch it wandering into thoughts of lack or separation from your desire, gently bring it back to the feeling of fulfillment, of already having what you want. As you practice this, you'll find that staying in the state of your wish fulfilled becomes easier and more natural. It becomes your default state, the lens through which you view and interact with the world. And as this happens, you'll start to notice changes in your outer world. These changes might be subtle at first. Perhaps you'll notice that people respond to you differently, or that opportunities you never noticed before suddenly seem to appear, or that solutions to problems come to you effortlessly. These are all signs that your inner shift is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your assumption is taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from your assumed state. As you persist in this practice, larger changes will begin to manifest. The full realization of your desire will unfold in ways that might surprise and delight you. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which your desire naturally flows. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you're truly living from the end, when you're fully embodying the state of your wish fulfilled, you no longer need the outer manifestation to feel complete. You're already whole, already fulfilled in your imagination. And paradoxically, it's in this state of completeness that your desires flow most easily into your experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do something to bring our desires into manifestation? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process. But it's inspired action, not frantic doing. When you're living from the end, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like effort or struggle. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between chasing and allowing. When you're chasing, actions feel forced, stressful, born out of fear and lack. When you're allowing, actions flow naturally from your assumed state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to bring your desires into manifestation. Consider the example of a tree once again. A tree doesn't chase after sunlight, water, or nutrients. It simply grows, naturally extending its branches towards the sun, its roots towards water and nutrients. It allows these elements to come to it, and in doing so, it fulfills its nature and purpose. You, my dear listeners, are no different. You are a divine creature, imbued with the same creative power that brings forth worlds. When you align yourself with this power, when you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you allow the universe to bring to you all that you need for the manifestation of your desires. But let me be clear, this allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate assumption of the state of your wish fulfilled. It requires faith, not blind faith in an external power, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. This faith is not about believing that your desire will manifest someday in the future. It's about believing that your desire is already yours in the realm of imagination, and that the outer world must inevitably conform to this inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in your assumption, you'll begin to see evidence of your desire manifesting in your outer world. These signs may start small, an overt conversation that confirms your assumption, an unexpected opportunity that aligns with your desire, a shift in how others respond to you. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full manifestation of your desire. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people first encounter this teaching. Many worry that if they stop chasing their desires and instead live from the end, they'll become complacent or lose their motivation. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you're living from the end, When you're aligned with your true desires, you become more motivated, more inspired than ever before. But it's a different kind of motivation. It's not the frantic, anxious energy of someone desperately chasing a goal. It's the calm, confident energy of someone who knows their desire is already theirs. In this state, you take inspired action not because you feel you have to, but because you want to. You move through life with a sense of joy and anticipation, eager to see how your inner state will manifest in your outer world. This is the true gift of letting go of the chase. It's not just about manifesting specific desires, although that will happen. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of life, with the creative power of the universe. It's about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully through you. In this state of alignment, of allowing, you become a channel for the infinite possibilities of the universe. Ideas flow to you effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves naturally. The right people and circumstances appear in your life at the perfect time. This is the magic of living from the state of your wish fulfilled. But remember, this magic is not something external to you. It's not some cosmic force that you need to appease or manipulate. It is the natural expression of your own consciousness when it's aligned with truth. You are the magic. You are the miracle. You are the creative power you've been seeking. As we draw our time together to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principle we've explored tonight, stop chasing it. Let it come to you, is not just a technique for manifesting desires. It's a way of life. It's about recognizing your true nature as a divine, creative being. It's about aligning yourself with the fundamental laws of the universe. When you live from this understanding, everything changes. The world becomes a friendly place filled with infinite possibilities. You no longer see yourself as a small, separate being struggling against external forces. Instead, you recognize yourself as the creator of your reality, the author of your life story. In this state, there's no need to chase anything, for you understand that everything you desire is already within you, waiting to be expressed. Your job is simply to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to live from the end, and to allow the universe to take care of the details. So, my dear friends, as you leave here tonight, I urge you to let go of the chase. Stop pursuing, stop striving, stop efforting. Instead, turn within. Use your mighty imagination to assume the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel the naturalness of being or having what you desire. Live from this state. Persist in this assumption and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your inner vision. Remember, you are not a helpless being pushed around by external circumstances. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the one only reality. All things are possible to him who believes, for belief shapes reality. Go forth from here with this knowledge. Apply it in your life. Test it, prove it to yourself. For in doing so, you'll discover the truth of who you really are. You'll tap into the limitless power that has always been within you. And you'll experience the joy, the freedom, the fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with the laws of creation. The world is waiting for you, my friends, not as something to be chased, but as something to be embraced. It's waiting for you to recognize your true power, to step into your divine nature, to become the person you're meant to be. So stop chasing, start being. Let your desires come to you, for in truth, they are already yours. All you need to do is open your arms, open your heart, and receive them. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The power to shape your reality is within you. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. Embrace this truth, live from it, and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. Good night, my dear friends, and may your dreams know your assumptions become your reality. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract everything they desire, while others struggle their entire lives? The secret I'm about to share with you transformed my entire existence, and today I show you exactly how to do the same. Close your eyes for a moment. Yes, right now. Feel what it would be like to already have everything you've ever dreamed of. Not tomorrow, not next year, but right now. This feeling, this is your key to unlocking a reality most people will never experience. I discovered something profound about the human mind that changed everything. You see, your outer world is nothing but a reflection of your inner conversations. Every single thought you think, every feeling you hold is creating your reality right now. Not metaphorically, literally. Let me share a personal experience. Years ago, I lived in a tiny apartment, barely making ends meet. But every night before sleep, I would lie in my bed and feel the sensation of sleeping in a luxurious home. I wouldn't just visualize it, I would feel the soft sheets, smell the fresh air, hear the peaceful silence. Within months, circumstances rearranged themselves mysteriously, and I found myself living in exactly such a home. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for something external to change their reality. They're waiting for permission, for the right moment for someone to notice them. But I'm here to tell you, the power has always been within you. You are the operant power of your reality. When you walk into a room, do you feel like a guest or like you own the space? This isn't about arrogance. It's about understanding your true nature. You are the awareness in which all experiences occur. Once you grasp this, everything changes. Think about the last time you wanted something deeply. Did you spend more time feeling the lack of it or feeling the joy of having it? This is where most people go wrong. They focus on the absence, the wanting, the needing. But the secret is to feel the presence of what you desire, even before it appears in your physical reality. I used to think success was about working harder, pushing more, struggling more. But then I discovered that success leaves clues, not in actions, but in states of consciousness. The successful don't succeed and then feel successful. They feel successful first, and then success naturally follows. Every night before you sleep, your consciousness enters a state where it's most impressionable. This is your golden hour. Instead of reviewing your day's problems or tomorrow's worries, use this time to feel the reality you wish to experience. Feel it so deeply that your body believes it's already happened. The world you see is nothing more than your assumptions materialized. Change your assumptions and you change your world. It's that simple. Yet most will never grasp this truth because they're too busy looking for complexity. Let me tell you something about desire. Every desire you have is already yours. It exists right now in what I call infinite states of possibility. Your job isn't to figure out how to get it. Your job is to naturally assume the state of having it. Most people live life as if they're victims of circumstances. They react to what happens to them. But once you understand what I'm sharing with you, you'll realize that circumstances are responding to you. You are the creator of your reality, not its victim. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you feel? Is it dread about the day ahead, or is it excitement for the wonderful things unfolding in your life? This first feeling sets the tone for your entire day. Choose it wisely. I spent years studying human consciousness, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, your imagination is just the preview of life's coming attractions. Whatever you imagine yourself to be, you will become. This isn't positive thinking, this is law. Think about something you want right now. Really think about it. Now, instead of wondering how to get it, ask yourself, how would I feel if I already had this? Feel that feeling. Let it permeate every cell of your body. This is manifestation in action. Most people live in a perpetual state of waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for permission, waiting for science. But I'm telling you, the perfect moment is now. The permission comes from within. And the only sign you need is your desire itself. Your breath right now, it carries the power to transform your entire existence. Take a deep breath. Feel the life force moving through you. This simple act contains more power than most people will ever realize. Every breath is an affirmation of your creative power. When you walk down the street, what do you see? Do you see a world of limitations or a world of infinite possibilities? The difference isn't in the world, it's in your perception. Change your perception, and the world transforms before your eyes. I've watched countless people sabotage their desires by talking about them constantly. They discuss, analyze, and worry about their dreams until they drain all the power from them. Instead, hold your desires sacred. Let them germinate in silence. Think about how you handle disappointment. Do you let it define your future? Or do you understand that it's merely a reflection of past thoughts? Every situation you face today was created by your past assumptions. Change your assumptions today and you change your tomorrow. Most people live life through their memory, constantly recycling past experiences to predict their future. But I'm telling you, memory is the enemy of creation. The past has no power unless you give it power through your attention. When you look in the mirror, who do you see? Do you see your current circumstances? Or do you see the person you've decided to be? This isn't about delusion. It's about understanding that your self-concept shapes everything in your experience. I've observed that people who struggle always have one thing in common. They place their faith in external conditions. But those who consistently succeed understand that conditions don't create consciousness. Consciousness creates conditions. Your mental diet is more important than your physical diet. What thoughts are you feeding yourself hourly? What inner conversations are you having? These are the seeds of your future experience. Plant them wisely. Most never realize that their current circumstances are nothing but harvests of past mental seeds. If you don't like what you're harvesting, change what you're planting. It's that simple. Think about the last time you achieved something significant. Did you achieve it and then feel confident? Or did you feel confident first? I'll tell you the truth. The feeling always precedes the manifestation. When you go to sleep tonight, remember, your subconscious mind never sleeps. It's always working, always creating according to your dominant thoughts and feelings. Make your last thoughts before sleep count. I've seen people spend years trying to change their circumstances while maintaining the same self-concept. It's like trying to drive forward while looking in the rearview mirror. Your self-concept is everything. Consider how you speak about your future. Do you speak with certainty or with hope? Hope is a confession of uncertainty. Speak of your desires as done, as finished, as already existing in your world. Most people think visualization is about seeing pictures in their mind. But true visualization is about feeling. Feel the reality of your desire so deeply that your body can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. Your emotions are not reactions to the world. They are instructions to the world. When you truly understand this, you'll never again waste your emotional power on unwanted situations. Think about the way you dress, the way you carry yourself. Are you dressing for where you are or for where you're going? Your external world will always arrange itself to match your internal assumptions. I've watched people pray for things while simultaneously feeling unworthy of receiving them. Your worthiness isn't something you earn, it's something you accept. Accept it now. Most never grasp that their very existence is proof of their worthiness. You didn't have to earn your right to exist, and you don't have to earn your right to prosper. Consider how you handle money. Do you clutch it tightly from fear of loss? Or do you handle it with relaxed confidence? Your relationship with money reveals your deeper assumptions about abundance. Your attention is your most precious currency. Where are you spending it? Every moment you focus on what's wrong in your life is a moment you could be creating what's right. Choose your focus deliberately. I've watched people wait for conditions to change while their inner state remains the same. But I tell you, this external change is impossible without internal change. Start with your consciousness and watch the world reshape itself around you. Think about the music you listen to, the shows you watch, the conversations you entertain. Everything is either supporting your desired state or keeping you from it. There is no neutral ground in consciousness. Most people live life as if they're passengers in someone else's vehicle. But you're not a passenger, you're the driver. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption is steering your life in a specific direction. When you eat, are you eating like someone who respects their body, who expects health and vitality? Even this simple act carries creative power. Your entire life is a statement of your assumptions about yourself. I've observed that successful manifestation isn't about forcing change. It's about allowing your natural state to express itself. You don't have to make things happen. You have to let them happen through your changed consciousness. Consider your bedroom. Is it arranged like the bedroom of someone who has already achieved their dreams? Your environment is a perfect reflection of your inner state. Change one, and you change the other. Most never realize that their physical energy is directly connected to their mental state. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you'll find yourself naturally taking the actions that support that assumption. Think about how you answer the phone. Is it with the confidence of someone who expects good news? Or with the apprehension of someone bracing for problems? These subtle choices shape your reality. Your posture tells a story. Are you carrying yourself like someone who knows their own power? Or like someone waiting for permission to exist? Your body responds to your assumptions about yourself. I've watched people torture themselves with what-if scenarios of failure. But what if works both ways? What if everything you want is already yours? What if success is your natural state? Consider how you handle criticism. Do you defend yourself or do you remain secure in your own self-concept? When you know who you are, other people's opinions lose their power over you. Most people think they need to change their actions first, their feelings second, and their thoughts last. But the order is exactly opposite. Change your thoughts, and everything else follows naturally. I think about your morning routine. Is it rushed and reactive, or is it deliberate and creative? The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. When you look at successful people, do you feel inspired or envious? Your reaction reveals whether you're viewing from the state of having or the state of wanting. Choose the state of having. I've seen people spend years accumulating knowledge while their lives remain unchanged. Knowledge without application is like food without digestion. It provides no nourishment. Consider your self-talk. Are you your own best friend or your worst critic? The voice in your head is creating your future. Make it a voice of encouragement and certainty. Most never grasp that relaxation is the key to manifestation. The tighter you grip your desires, the more they elude you. Learn to rest in the certainty of your creative power. You think about your past failures. Are they anchors holding you back or stepping stones leading you forward? Your interpretation of past events determines their power over your future. Consider your breathing right now. Is it shallow and tense or deep and confident? Your breath pattern reflects your state of consciousness. Change your breath, change your bait. I've watched countless people chase success in the outer world while neglecting their inner world. But success is an inside job. When you're aligned internally, external success becomes inevitable. Think about the way you end your day. Are you reviewing problems or are you dwelling in gratitude? The state in which you fall asleep becomes the fertile soil for tomorrow's manifestations. Most people approach their desires with a sense of struggle. But I tell you this, struggle is optional. When you're in the right state of consciousness, things unfold naturally, effortlessly. Your voice carries your consciousness. When you speak, do sound like someone who knows their power or someone seeking approval. Your tone reveals your self-concept to the world. I've observed that people who struggle with manifestation often have one thing in common. They're too focused on the process rather than the end state. Feel the end, and the means will take care of themselves. Consider your relationship with time. Do you feel rushed, like there's never enough? Or do you move through your day with the calm certainty that perfect timing is working for you? Most never realize that their level of relaxation directly correlates with their manifestation power. Tension is resistance. Learn to remain relaxed even while pursuing your biggest dreams. Think about your workspace. Is it organized like someone who's already successful, or does it reflect chaos and uncertainty? Your external space mirrors your internal state. When you make decisions, do you decide from your current circumstances or from your desired state? The state from which you make decisions determines the outcomes you'll experience. I've watched people sabotage their manifestations by constantly checking for results. Trust is essential. Plant the seed and let it grow in darkness. Consider how you handle unexpected events. Do you react with frustration, or do you understand that all events are working together for your good? Most people live in constant preparation mode, always getting ready to live. But life is now. Your power is now. Stop preparing and start being. I think about your evenings. Are they filled with mindless activities?